Judge's side job as an actor and stand-up comic raises ethical questions. The state's highest court ruled he cannot do both. That left him with a difficult decision: the stage or the bench. He shares his choice with our Terrell Brown.
Vince has been living something of a double life. Municipal court judge by day, stand-up comedian by night.
Wow, isn't it terrible with being bald and white and looking like the guy in the Amber Alert poster every time?
Is it really possible to separate the careers and the identities?
I absolutely believe that. I believe what I do on stage is an act. It's a performance.
But Thursday, he got word that if he wanted to continue serving on the bench, handling misdemeanors like traffic tickets and restraining orders, he'd have to give up the limelight.
Some hurricanes are even racist. Hurricane Sandy, the hurricane itself, was racist, right? What did it hit? Atlantic City, Jersey Shore, Hoboken, Staten Island. I know a mob hit when I see one.
In a 30-page decision, the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that Sakari's acting and comedy career were incompatible with the Code of Judicial Conduct.
The Supreme Court is telling me, so long as you're doing both, you can't be a judge.
And you chose comedy.
Yes.
In addition to his stand-up, Sakari has appeared on ABC's hidden camera show, What Would You Do?, where paid actors do outrageous things to capture people's reactions.
All we wanted to do was shop.
Yeah, shoplift, not shop. Come on.
In this episode, he plays a store security guard racially profiling black customers.
Do I have to spell it out? What do I need, Ebonics? Come on.
Off-color bits like that led the justices to conclude that such humor by a sitting judge has the clear capacity to demean his judicial office and cast doubt on the judge's ability to act impartially.
That's a character I'm playing on TV. If I was in Pirates of the Caribbean, would you think I was a pirate?
Still, Sakari says he accepts the ruling. He's officially stepped down from the bench and plans to focus full-time on his career in entertainment.
Something as prestigious as being a judge. You know what? I'll forego that to chase this dream.
And so for all of this, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of Judge Vinny Live. This is our second week in a row. We are coming to you live. It is February 24th, 2021. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, please, please, please like, subscribe, share. We've got to grow this audience. It's got to get bigger. We have added new subscribers every week. Our numbers continue to go up, but we really need a lot more help. So please click on that subscribe button, share, like, and by all means, comment on this video. Now, I have to start this video off with a disclaimer right off the bat, okay? This is not, and I repeat, this is not an anti-vax video. I am not anti-vax. So for Facebook, YouTube, and wherever this is platformed, I am not an anti-vaccine person. What the point of this video is to go over the actual facts and data that we have, and then have a discussion as to why people are hesitant in taking this vaccine. We have seen 1 in 3 people in our military, which is part of our government, is saying, look, I'm not ready to take this vaccine. We have people that have concerns about it. And we're going to address all of those concerns. Okay, so I have my entire staff with me today. I have Michael Sirachi, Ben Goodfriend, and Jess Miller, and we're all going to cover this in different ways. And at the end, we're all going to be on the same screen together. So feel free to fire questions. Ask your questions in the comments, and let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay, so this way I know who to answer and when to make sure I get back to every single one of you. So let's start off. I'm going to bring on Michael Sirachi, my legal intern, who I gave a really interesting assignment to. Our assignment was for Michael to find out exactly how much of this vaccine has been going out from its inception. So, Michael, thank you for joining me again on Judge Vinny. Always great to see you, Michael.
Great to see you. So in terms of the rollout, in the last week or so, I think it's been getting up to around 2 million a day. The Pfizer vaccine came out on December 14th, and the Moderna one came out on December 18th, and it started out around, in sort of like the waning days of the Trump presidency, it was around 700,000 vaccines a day. And again, these are 2-shot vaccines, so it's not like 700 people are COVID immune all of a sudden because it's a 2-part process. I think you get the second one 6 weeks later.
Well, no, actually, from what I understand, either Pfizer or Moderna, I'm not sure which one. One is 21 days later, the other one is 29 days later, or something like that. And you have to get the shot within that time. In fact, one of the things I remember Mayor de Blasio saying, hey, look, if we don't have that second shot available for you within the 21st to 29th day, you can take it after that. Like it was no big deal. And it's like, no, this is science. It is a big deal. So when you say vaccines, it means that's how many people are literally getting a needle put into their arm every day.
Yeah, it's how many shots are reported each day. So I mean, they could have been reported after the fact, but yes.
Okay. Has that line or the trajectory of the line seen any crazy movement in terms of like there was a spike and then a drop, or has it just been a slow build? What have you noticed from the amount of vaccines that have been distributed on a daily basis?
It's generally been a slow build. There's been a couple days where it's dropped or severely risen, and I don't understand why. I think like there's a couple days where I think on one of the days in the last week of the Trump presidency it was 3 million in one day, and then on another day after that,
I think that was his last day.
Yeah, and then it was 700,000. So I'm not sure why it would be less than a third difference in afterwards, but generally rising, and we're nearing 2 million a day right now.
Okay, so let's dispel one of the things that we've heard with regards to this vaccine. It was available in December.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was something, there was forget about plan for distribution, forget about whether or not, how it was being done by what administration, whatever. But there have been some reports that this administration came in and there was like nothing ready. That's not true. There was a vaccine. We know it was done under the Trump administration. It was this Operation Warp Speed. So in December, it was available. It started going into people's arms, and we've seen a steady climb. All right. Now, did you get a chance to look into exactly how the distribution occurs? So does it go from the medical facility, Pfizer and Merck, and now Johnson just got approved today, Johnson & Johnson. Does it go from those companies to the federal government? Does it go directly to states? Does it go directly to cities? Because we saw Cuomo and de Blasio having a go at it, saying, well, New York City, they can get it directly from the pharmaceutical companies. They don't have to go through the state. Did you get a chance to look at any of that?
When you say New York City can get it directly from the pharmaceutical companies as opposed to the state, what do you mean?
Meaning when Pfizer and Merck and now Johnson & Johnson, when they have their vaccines ready, okay, is it the job of the governors and the mayors to call these companies and get as much of this vaccine as they can? Or is the federal government involved? Like who's involved in getting this vaccine out? Do we know?
Yeah, my understanding was that the federal government implemented a plan with Walmart and CVS on sort of a national level to collaborate with the big pharma companies to distribute the vaccines. And that is mostly the case, but some states like West Virginia, for example, are doing it differently. They didn't make it. West Virginia didn't sort of sign the federal deal like every other state did with Walmart and CVS. They're doing sort of, I guess you'd call it mom and pop pharmacy companies. And that's actually one of the reasons why they've had more success administering the vaccine, because those local businesses sort of are just more ingrained in the communities.
And in fact, one of the things that I learned today with regards to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, because it doesn't have to be stored at this ridiculously low temperature that the other two vaccines have to be stored, this one can actually be sent out into the really suburban areas, as opposed to the big cities that have these huge refrigeration capabilities, so that really the smaller suburban communities can get it, and even some of the more urban communities that are not as developed can get it. So Johnson & Johnson's vaccine has really two huge effects. One is that it's only one shot, And the second thing is it doesn't have the same storage requirement. So it's going to probably get distributed maybe more efficiently. And we should see these numbers go up. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, Maryland, where I live, they only administer about, I think it was 50% of the vaccines, less than 50% of the vaccines that
Why?
they get.
Why? What the hell's going on in Maryland?
Like you said, the refrigeration. I think that they don't have the efficiency to administer them, and then they expire at the end of the day. So.
And that's the key. Okay, so this is not a necessarily just a federal issue. There's state issues. There's all kinds of issues that affect this vaccine being distributed. It's not just about having a vaccinator, as we've heard with President Biden. There's a lot of steps to getting this done, and everyone's got to work together on a state level, on a local level. It's got to pretty much permeate all the way through. And everyone's got to have a plan. In some states and certain local communities are going to have a better plan than other places, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Maryland is, you would expect it to be one of the top in terms of efficiency in the nation because it's got a high median household income, there's a high education, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually on the lower end of efficiency because it's decided to do things by county and all the counties are on different pages. So as opposed to like West Virginia, again, the
bureaucracy at its best.
Yeah.
Bureaucracy as a Michael, you sound a little COVID-y. What the hell's going on? You're coughing. You're coughing like I think we need to get you the vaccine.
I know.
We gotta get somebody inject Michael. All right. Great job on the research. Anything else to add before I bring in Ben?
No, I think we covered everything I looked at. I mean, it is interesting the difference in efficiency between states, and it is an issue, I think. But everything's going up. Everything's going up, which is good. They said that they expect 3 million vaccines per day by April. So twice as many as we have now.
Right. So great job on the research. I'm glad that we're seeing that upward trend. It is a slow climb, but nonetheless a climb. So great job. Thank you, Michael. We're going to bring you back later when we all start going over everything that we've researched together. What I'm going to do now is bring in Ben Goodfriend. He is my law clerk, and he's got some data for us on the actual efficacy. Wow, I almost destroyed that word. The efficacy of the vaccine and how successful it's been. If we have any side effect information, I know that was tough to come by at first. So, Ben, please tell us what you found out.
Judge Vinny, first of all, we got to talk about the fact that Sriracha clearly has COVID. I mean, what the hell?
What the hell?
This guy's going.
He's not even wearing a mask.
Come on. Come on.
He's feeling very COVID-y. Very COVID-y.
So this is as of last Friday. Johnson & Johnson, 66% protective against moderate to severe COVID infection in a multi-country study. And again, just a big picture caveat, all of this data is dynamic. We're constantly collecting more of it. We're constantly refining it. But as of right now, 66% effective.
Because let's be honest, this is the infancy stages of this vaccine.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And we're testing out technology in both mRNA and cellular protein creation. That's totally new. I mean, this stuff is really new.
It's actually amazing that these companies, and listen, I am not a fan of big pharma, but it's amazing they were able to do what they did in such a short period of time. And now that they're able to get this vaccine produced at such a high level, you know, it's funny. I hear certain leaders, I don't care if it's governors, mayors, or presidents, or whatever, saying, "Hey, look, we need it faster. We need it faster." Are you kidding me? That to me, this has been like light speed, and they must be like, "God, we're working on it." All right? This isn't, you know, Batman where we're coming up with the antidote. Like, you know, this stuff is going into aerosol. So, all right, go ahead.
If you're an elected official and you're saying faster to the scientists, like, you know, go take a walk. Go take a walk.
Take a
science class. You know, like, are you gonna step in and do it faster? Let them do their job. They've done a good job so far. We have amazing
phenomenal
biotechnical breakthrough.
This is amazing.
Let's celebrate some ingenuity here, Judge. I mean, there is a light against the end of the tunnel. The clouds are parting. There's a large mountain to climb, just to get too deep into this metaphor, but yeah.
So he gave us Johnson, which was literally approved by the FDA today. What do you have on Merck and Pfizer? Anything?
Yeah, so from what I read, it's actually even more effective.
Wow.
The issue with those is storage. They're less practical because they need to be stored at such cold temperatures. So even though, yeah. So it's tough. I mean, there's a trade-off here. But just for context, the flu vaccine efficacy, depending on the year, can fluctuate to be below 50%. So these are strong numbers. These are numbers that are cause for optimism.
Absolutely. Okay. Have you learned or did you come across anything with regards to side effect studies, or are we way too early for that?
Yeah. No. So at this point, we do have information. To put a fine point on your previous question, the Pfizer vaccine is at a 95% efficacy for preventing symptomatic COVID infection after 2 doses. That's the other thing you mentioned earlier with Michael's segment. 2 doses. Moderna, 94.1%. Wow, that's good.
Right.
Okay.
And to correct me, you're right. It's Moderna, not Merck. I keep saying Merck just to make sure that we're correct for this. It's Moderna, not Merck.
What's Merck?
That's another. Yeah, that's another pharmaceutical giant. Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
So Judge Vinny loves big pharma.
Yeah, I know, right? Me. Yeah, exactly.
That's the other catch-22 to this whole thing, right? It's like we all despise big pharma. They're the parasites of our society, and now we need them to survive.
Right. So it's weird because you have this thing that, look, even people like Bernie Sanders and everyone have called big pharma basically, the great Satan, so to speak, of our healthcare industry. And, this is the reason why a lot of people say we don't have universal healthcare, is because these big pharma companies, because they have such a strong lobby, because they do much better with privatized insurance than they would in a universal health insurance plan. So we're in this weird place right now where it's like, well, would they have been as effective had they been part of this universal health care? Would that have taken? And we don't really know that answer, do we?
Yeah, no, it's impossible to know. Michael's mom is chiming in. The M stands for messenger and mRNA. Miracle.
That's amazing.
Miracle of science. I like that. Wow.
Wow. Wait until Michael finds out his mom is here. That's amazing.
She's the best.
His mom is actually very attractive.
Oh, Judge Vinny, that's something we all understand, but we don't talk about. Okay, moving forward.
Can the intern hook up the boss here?
Oh well, Mr. Srirachi is even balder and even sexier than you. So
She's got great taste on top of it. She's got great taste on top of it.
Yeah, no. I mean, here's the thing: you guys are both Italian. I think we should just cover you in grape jelly, have a wrestling match. Let the chips fall where they may.
Ben, let me ask you this, because I did ask you about one thing with regards to side effects. There was a Facebook page that was up where people were posting their side effects, not in a way to necessarily knock the vaccine. What they were saying is to people, hey, listen, by the way, second shot, my arm was sore, or I felt this, I felt that. And it was kind of like one of those things that, look, if you ever went skydiving, you would tell somebody, hey, by the way, close your mouth when you jump out of the plane. Otherwise, you're taking a ton of air and it's going to be really uncomfortable and hard to close your mouth. Like, you're not saying the chute's not going to open, you're going to die. What you're saying is, look, just to get you ready, here's what you might feel. Did you find out anything about that page?
I've got a lot to say about that, Judge Vinny. So there was a page taken down. Facebook has taken a hardline stance against basically not just misinformation, but any information that might lead to people not getting vaccinated, which is an important distinction to draw.
Right.
On top of that.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. Look, there's a big difference between misinformation and information that you don't like. Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to this vaccine, and I'm going to get into why I think, my opinion on why people aren't as enthusiastic, why there's a group of people that are not enthusiastic about this, but to suppress information, because you know what? Look, in the possibility or probability that someone's going to put out bad information, it's just better to suppress all the information. You know how I feel about this First Amendment issue.
It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. No doubt.
Dangerous. It's dangerous. So what else did you come up with on that?
So here's the deal. Anecdotally, there have been doctors who've died. One, let me speak in the singular rather than the plural. There was a doctor who died after taking a COVID vaccine. That story, to an extent, was suppressed in more of the prominent internet search engines because people believed, rightfully so, that it would lead to a decrease in vaccinations.
Right.
That anecdote is terrifying, but the broad statistical findings are that this is very safe. When we are talking about scale in the hundreds of millions, we're going to have anecdotes of people getting hurt from vaccines because we have to remember that this is a biological procedure that involves introducing the virus to build immunity. You know,
when you're
so
getting
there's risk involved.
Right. And when you're getting 1 million to 3 million people injected a day, okay, and you hear about this one death or you hear about these reactions, you know, my thing is, well, if you have these grand scale numbers, okay, look, you're going to have a percentage of people that are going to have an adverse reaction that you don't even know why. I mean, that's statistics, that's probability. To suppress that, to give this impression that this vaccine is somehow completely safe, I think is also bad because people are going to question that.
Of course. And it goes back to our discussion of Fauci lying about masks and the importance of masks. It's just this sort of paternalism from the state, right? Like, you can't decide for yourself whether or not you should be at the top of the mask wearing hierarchy. Like, let's hide information. Or you can't decide for yourself in New York State if your parent should get to stay in a nursing home. So we're going to suppress information so you can't decide for yourself.
Michael,
all of these instances.
Excuse me, Ben. Ben, you just set me up like this.
Michael.
I'm still thinking about his mom. You just set me up like, you know, ever see volleyball when like the dude gets set up and then there's like people all swinging for the ball and then the guy who comes in, you just did that to me because you set me up perfect for what's going to be my rant on this. Ben, you did great job on the research. I'm going to bring you back after I go through my rant where I'm going to speak with Jess. But here's what I have. And I wanted to make sure that I had notes on this and I want to get this right. So excuse me, I need my glasses to read this. And I'm asking everyone out there, fact check me. By all means, fact check me on all of this. Because what I want to get to here is this. Look, if there is a reason why people are not trusting this vaccine for whatever reason, okay, to just dismiss those people's fears is completely unfair. And you know what I want to do is opine that there is a reason and there is a basis why people question things. And it is science. It's actual science to question things. And I want to get into the face of what's been all of this for so long, which is beginning with Dr. Anthony Fauci. So these, by all means, everyone, fact check me on this. So on March 8th, 2020, Dr. Fauci says he described China's lockdown measures as, quote, draconian and, quote, not feasible here in the United States. That was March 8th, 2020. On March 15th, 1 week later, he said he was open to a 14-day shutdown. That's a swing in 7 days. It's draconian, not feasible. I'm open to do it. Don't forget, March 13th, New York City was already on shutdown. People were already getting locked down back in March, mid-March, March 13th. I remember the day was Friday 13th. That's when the Daily Show said to me, look, we're not coming back next week. So he was just at that point, I'm open to the 14-day shutdown. September 2020, and fact check me, everybody. He stated he did not regret saying the only way to stop the infection was by shutting down. He didn't regret saying it was to shut it down. He never said to shut it down. Back then he was saying, no, it's draconian. It's not feasible to do it here. Then he changes his tune in September. March 2020. Again, quote, no reason. That's his quote. No reason to wear a mask. He changed that by April. Now we've heard to wear 2 masks. And even this past week on CNN, he said, look, there's a good chance or a probability that we'll be wearing them into 2022. So we went from no mask, they're for the first responders, the essential workers, to, you know what, I said that because, people don't really know how to wear a mask, they touch it, whatever. So everyone should wear one. Now everyone should wear 2. And look, we could be wearing these things with this vaccine or without into 2022. Okay. February 2020. We should not be, quote, frightened, quote, by the virus. This is all Dr. Anthony Fauci. We should not be frightened by the virus. March 2022. We should take this virus very seriously. Same guy within a month. January 28th, 2020. Again, you could look all of this up. Dr. Anthony Fauci, asymptomatic transmission has never been a driving factor in community spread for this type of virus. That was him, January 28th. I'll give you the exact day. Okay. August 2020. August 2020. Asymptomatic transmission is the driving factor in COVID-19. Now it's the driving factor. But here's the best part. In late August of 2020, Southern Methodist University says asymptomatic transmission is the least likely way to spread this infection. Okay. April 2020, Dr. Anthony Fauci, remdesivir, quote, will be the standard of care, quote, after 1 peer review. Dr. Anthony Fauci. November 2020, the WHO, which we're now refunding again, warns against using remdesivir. The FDA, in turn, approves it for treatment. Okay. Summer 2020, Fauci dismisses the use of hydroxychloroquine. November 2020, peer review from the International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents found that 84% fewer hospitalizations where hydroxychloroquine was part of what they call a treatment package. Okay, part of this whole thing. So this is some of the dynamic that people have been hearing from the guy who's been the face of this. Then, okay, when we look at vaccines with regards to this global pandemic, considering the fact we've all been shut down, considering the loss of wages, considering the loss of employment, considering the loss of healthcare, 14.5 million people lost their healthcare tied to employment, considering the way we haven't been able to go out, socialize, considering the increase in opioid use, considering the higher rate in suicide, considering all of this, you would think that this vaccine wouldn't exactly need a PR campaign. You wouldn't think that this vaccine would need people to post all over their Facebook pages, to post all over social media, I got the vaccine. You wouldn't need all of these people promoting it, celebrities promoting it. But the reason why you need it is because of everything I just told you that happened in the year prior. Because of all of the change, the constant flipping and flopping of the information, people are confused. And it's natural when you hear all this to say, hey, look, I don't trust you guys. I'm sorry. The face of all of this changes his mind within the year 9 different times. Not only that, look, we have to hear, this is the other thing that drove me crazy. Why is Bill Gates telling me about the vaccine from Pfizer, Moderna, Pfizer, look, I sound like Fauci, Pfizer, the vaccine from Pfizer is coming from Moderna, Pfizer, from Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. Why is Bill Gates selling me on this? No offense. I've got to say this once and for all. Who the fuck is Bill Gates? Really? Who is this guy that he's stepping in and all of a sudden he's the spokesman for scientists? Why am I not hearing directly from the scientists at Pfizer, at Moderna, at Johnson? Probably because they're too busy working on the vaccine as opposed to Anthony Fauci. That's another thing. I'm going to get back to him. How not busy this guy has been. Okay. Here's the other thing. When it comes to the who we're giving this vaccine to, we're talking about seniors. We're talking about people with underlying conditions. Then our government turns around and says, you know what, teachers are going to be a priority. Well, hold on a second. Why is this tied to employment? Why is this tied to a specific employer? Well, Vin, they're going to be around our kids. Yeah, but all of the science says that where all schools are currently in session, and again, fact check me, there's not one case of a student transmitting the coronavirus to a teacher and a teacher dying. Not one case. Not one. Not one in the United States. So why is teacher all of a sudden being treated like people with heart conditions, heart disease, obesity, or all the other underlying conditions? Teacher is not a condition. It is a profession. So see, that's where you don't have science involved in some of this, and there's politics involved. And again, this is the type of thing that people ask questions about, and we're not getting the answers. Let me continue if I can really quick. If we are taking the vaccine, and in the end, it doesn't change what is going to happen. This is the worst selling sales pitch there is when it comes to this. Okay, because if you tell people, look, here's what's going to happen. You're going to take this vaccine, and once you get the second shot, you know what? You're not going to have to wear a mask. You can start flying. You could start doing things. Everything is going to start opening up. But when you tell people you're going to take the vaccine, and by the way, you still got to wear 2 masks. We still have to social distance. Nothing is going to open, and we're not going to be back to normal probably until January of 2022. There's no urgency. You're not giving people an incentive to take the vaccine. If you're telling people you're going to get this vaccine, and by July we're going to have put 100 million vaccines into people's arms, a third of the country, but nothing's going to change, well, then why do I want to add a variable that we don't have a long-term study for? Why do I want to add that into the mix? You know what? I'll just keep doing what I'm doing then. Then let me keep, because you told me 2 weeks to flatten the curve. So now it's not 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Now it's 2 weeks obviously doesn't do anything because we've been shut down for how long? So it's not 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It's not 1 mask, it's 2 masks. So it's not 2 masks, it's not social distancing and a vaccine. Now what? All of these things don't add up for a lot of people, which is why people are saying, hey, look, do you understand why I'm skeptical? Can you at least appreciate why I'm skeptical with regards to taking this? These things don't add up for me. Everything that I just put out there, it creates a doubt in people's mind. Now, again, I'm going to say this again because I don't want to get deplatformed. This is not an anti-vax video. I am not saying the vaccine is not effective. I am not saying don't take the vaccine. I am not saying anything bad about the vaccine. What I'm trying to do is opine as to why people are skeptical. Why 1/3 of our military, 1 of every 3 military personnel is like, hey, listen, I'm not taking this. Why people are like, look, I'm going to wait this thing out. Okay, now that leads me to bring Jess Miller on with me because Jess Miller, we have Jess on to do the emotional approach to this. Jess, it's so great when I talk to Jess because I give these assignments to Michael and Ben to do all the science, and then I talk to Jess, and Jess is like, I just want to talk to you about this thing because I just want to get into my own emotion about it. And Jess is like, I'll hear you guys talk, but then just ask me how I feel. Now, Jess,
how do I feel?
How do you feel? How do you feel?
I have things to say, Vince.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have any of the underlying conditions that we've heard COVID-19 kind of preys upon?
I do, because I ate 90 pounds of potatoes in March of last year.
All right.
Which was a bad move on my part.
Without getting into HIPAA releases, so you do have, you would be in what we call suspect class with regards
I had a heart ablation 3 years ago for palpitations. It's just an electricity issue in my heart. So it's not any kind of heart defect. It's just, it is what it is.
And we've talked about this. You've said to me, look, I'm going to take the vaccine. Just not yet.
So yeah, this is great that this came up today because I had so anybody who doesn't know me, I'm a veteran. And so I had a doctor's appointment with the VA today, and I love my new doctor. She's hysterical. She's like, I don't know where exactly she's from, and I don't know the accent that she has, but she's like, you have underlying conditions, so you're going to die.
I don't even know what accent that is. I have to be honest. I don't know what
I'm terrible at accents. I'm terrible at accents. But yeah, she was telling me that because I talked to her and I asked her about if she had any problems with it. And she's like, the first dose was fine. The second dose, she's like, I got chills. And she's like, and I'm usually hot. So that was weird. And then she said, at one point she was taking a shower and washing herself. She found a really big lump. And she's like, oh my God, I have cancer. And I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect doctor to me because she suffers from hypochondria. And that's great. But it turns out I will be getting my vaccine shot on Saturday because I am in the high risk category. So I will take it. I will take it. I mean, we've had this conversation several times and I was very hesitant to take it. And a lot of that is basically what you're talking about, the back and forth. Right. Like if I think had this been handled differently, I think there would be a different response right now. And I think that's why that's your point to the publicity of people going on and saying, because the only way we get herd immunity is if you get it and survive or people get the vaccine. Those are the only choices.
That's it. Right.
If I get it, the possibilities of me having a serious illness from it are really high. And I very possibly.
And we're talking about COVID. COVID, not the vaccine. COVID. Just to be clear.
COVID. Yeah. So I mean, I've literally been in my house for a year.
Right.
And I'm really ready to go outside. And so.
And listen, you educated me on something, and I want to bring this up because I think this is really important. You educated me on something, and it made me feel dumb because I made a joke in one of our Zoom comedy things about people wearing masks in cars, and then you said, yeah, you know, my wife does that. Stephanie does that. And I'm like, what's with her? And you explained to me, well, you're not supposed to touch the mask. You're not supposed to fiddle with the mask. So once you put the mask on, the right thing to do is leave it on and not touch it. Yeah. So that means if you're going from place to place and one of those places is in your car, that's why you're driving with the mask on, Vin. F you, comedian Vin, making fun of me.
You know, it's funny because I think people are genuinely afraid. And I think when you're afraid, you lash out, you know, like you fight it because like who wants to be afraid of this shit? And you know, we go back to the Spanish flu in 1918. It took them 2 or 3 years to recover from that. Right. You know, and they didn't have this technology.
And Ben and Michael, the little shits that they are, keep asking me, what was it like back then, Vin? Well, and I said, I'm not that old. All right. So let's bring Ben and Michael back on. Let's open the floor to everyone. Let's hopefully we got some comments and we got some people commenting. All right. So you guys have heard my take on why people might have some questions about taking it. Dorothy, I'm giving up my dose. Listen, I'll be honest. I'm gonna throw this out there. You guys know that I am a health nut. I am one of the people that really is about everything that I eat. I'm 80% vegetarian. I'm pescatarian. I haven't eaten red meat or any land animal really for almost 13 years. I supplement, I work out. I'm probably, with the exception of my injuries, in the best shape of my life. My attitude is I don't want to, first of all, get in someone's way that needs the shot to take it. And second, I'll wait to the end. I have no problem because I think I can beat this thing. Michael, where do you fall in on this?
Well, you can't beat the I don't know what you'd call it, the sexual discrimination lawsuit I'm going to file on you for the comment about my mom earlier.
I just said mom looks hot.
Michael doesn't need the vaccine because he already has COVID right now. With his oh my God, your whack ass cough.
Michael's not going to make it. He's not going to make it through this video.
Eileen, what do you think about
I'm sorry,
Vince calling out Michael's mom?
Take on the vaccine?
Yes. Are you going to take the vaccine?
Yeah, when it's ready, I'll take it.
When you say when it's ready, so when it's your turn?
Yes, when it's my turn, yeah.
Okay, and you don't have any underlying condition other than what we've seen today on this video?
No. just sensitivity emotionally.
Other than
in fact, Michael, you've got some underlying conditions.
He's might actually
over there.
He might have the antibody by the next Judge Vinny live with the way he's going. All right. So, yeah. So Ben, what about you? When are you planning on taking this thing? Or listen, Ben, let's be honest. When it comes to putting things into your body, you're not exactly the most fearful guy.
And let me talk to all the young people in my category out there.
Right.
Listen, I know you're partying. I know you're drinking. I know you're smoking with your jewel. Get the fucking vaccine too, all right? Don't act like you're going to be sanctimonious about this one thing when with everything else you put it in your body in the most laissez-faire way. Come on,
Anita said I had my second dose today. Congratulations. No reason to celebrate because everything stays the same. Absolutely. Masks 6 feet away from people.
And I think that it's such a bad campaign. And that's what this is. It's a bad publicity campaign to tell people, listen, everyone take the vax.
Okay.
Nothing changes.
Okay, it isn't. And here's why. You had a huge mishandling of this vaccine in the very beginning of this, okay? Just like you said, with Fauci saying it's draconian, and then no, we should shut things down, and then it doesn't regret saying anything, and then he does. That creates a lot of confusion. So now you have to double down on everything that you're doing.
Yeah. Yo, can I just say
hold on. Let me just speak to Jess's point first. But here's the other thing. He moves goalposts more than the superintendent of athletic director in the NCAA. Because here's what he does. You know what? 60% herd immunity, we're good. Actually make it 70. You know what? It's 85. It's 90. Well, why'd you say 60? Why I said 60? Because at first I thought this is what you wanted to hear. No. Listen, you know what my problem with Dr. Fauci is too?
I want you to tell us.
Yes, I'm going to tell you this. I think it's the accent. I don't trust the guy with the Long Island accent giving me medical information, okay? That's what I think the problem.
Maybe people should jack their immune system.
Always.
Eileen?
Is that a euphemism?
Is that a sexual innuendo?
No, and she's right. Look, if you put this vaccine in the McRib, I think we'd already have more than enough people vaccinated. Okay, so
you can get your antibiotics and your antiviral in one neat cocktail.
Like, here's the other issue that you have, right?
Go ahead, Jazz.
You have 5 different variants of this right now. Okay, there's you know how they do the placebo testing? There's the A and B test, right? You have actual real life case studies on what happens when you don't social distance or wear your mask or lock down, as opposed to what happens. And I'll give you a perfect example. My dad lives in Australia, in Canberra, Australia. They have not had one case for months. Melbourne had one case. They shut everything down, right? Now, that's not what we're going to do, clearly, because that's not what's happening. But here, we just hit 500,000 deaths in a year.
But I'm going to do a terrible straw man argument.
Do it.
This is like telling people, you know what? Look, with regards to AIDS, wear a condom and at the same time abstain until further notice.
Honestly.
Wait, what? What? Because what I'm saying is, here, take the vaccine, but you still got to stay the hell away from everybody. And it's like, that's not science.
Well,
that's not science.
But I mean, come on, Vince. I mean, honestly,
it's not science, Jess.
It's not science, Vince. It's practical.
No, but
honestly, forget that. When I hear Fauci talk about these masks and the vaccine, it reminds me of how my classmates and I talked about condoms in 5th grade when we first discovered what they were. You gotta wear them. No, don't wear them. You don't need them. All the cool kids don't wear them. Wear 2 of them. Don't wear any of them. You know what I mean, Eileen?
5 variants.
It's
crazy. The thing about the 5 variants, though, that Jess was bringing up,
because all viruses mutate. Okay.
The thing about the variants that Jess was bringing up that I found in my research is because of this new technology, the 5 variants don't pose that significant of a threat because we can use the underlying structure of the vaccine and essentially change the information that we're programming it with.
I'm going back to
these
Messenger.
Different mutations.
I'm going back to Messenger. Here's what we do next time.
I think it's crazy that you're blaming Fauci for this.
No, I'm going to tell you. Next time, rather than having a guy with a Long Island accent, I think we need Russell Crowe or someone with an English accent. Yes, and I think that's part of the. Listen, you need to wear the mask. No, I don't want to hear a guy that should be working at Katz's Delicatessen telling me about a vaccine. I want Russell Crowe or that Cumberbatch guy next time. Roll him out. And what happened to Dr. Birx? Did she run out of scarves? Is that why we stopped? I think she ran out of scarves. Remember her? Where did she disappear to?
Vince,
Where do
I
all
think
these
you're
people
just
go?
mad that another Italian guy has a bigger microphone.
She did an interview that she basically said she knew that she wasn't going to be around after this because of the I think it was the
scarves.
the Clorox.
She ran out of scarves.
I'm surprised you didn't cover that one, Vince. Clorox works. Just inject some Clorox.
Inject it into your body.
I mean, that was our president of the United States saying maybe we could do some Clorox. That was the messaging that we were getting.
But kids were eating Tide Pods long before that. So you know what? It's not like he started it. All right. So there you go.
Tide Pods are delicious.
See, there you go.
Out there.
Right.
Fake
Ben
news
is still
says
here.
don't eat Tide Pods.
By the way, Mike,
I eat Tide Pods for breakfast.
Michael
I eat
just
Tide Pods
dialed
with my Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Not that Michael's not getting better, but he just dialed 9 on his phone. Listen, the point is, he's so pale. The point is that
oh my
God, he's coughing like crazy. Remember, all deaths went down as it was COVID. It directed a person dying of cancer.
That's a fair point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look,
but also,
okay, hold on. So if wearing masks and social distancing kept the flu away almost entirely, why are we being told that the reason COVID is still around is because there are too many people not following these restrictions, not buying it?
And this is again, and I don't blame Nancy. And this, right? And people are looking at this information and they're saying, look, you kept selling us on here's what's going to get these numbers down. Here's what's going to make us safe. Here's what's going to do that. And then here's the worst part. And Ben, you're in California, you know this. Then when the numbers started creeping up in December, like here in Jersey, and Governor Murphy doesn't do the same things he did last summer in the winter. In fact, as the Super Bowl's coming, the numbers are higher than they were before 4th of July. He's like, hey, we're going to add another 10% capacity to restaurants. And we're like, whoa. What about the thing from 4th of July? And even Gavin Newsom, right? The numbers are up. And it's like, all right, we're going to start pulling back on the restrictions. There's no consistency. And then didn't Gavin Newsom also fail to give hospital numbers? And it's like, we don't want to confuse you. Ben, you're out there. What's going on in California?
Yeah, Gavin Newsom is about as, he's about as crooked as they come, man. He's just Nancy Pelosi's nephew, little, lieutenant governor, prop, pawn, Silicon F-boy. But nobody is as bad as Cuomo. Can we talk about what Cuomo did? Can we talk about the nursing homes?
Today? You mean the sexual harassment claim? Or I mean, this guy is unbelievable. You know what the
get
best
him
thing
out of
about,
here. Get him out of here.
Here's the best thing about Cuomo. Everything he said about Trump is true of him. They're the same person. I want you to think about that.
Two sides of the same coin.
They toot their own horn, okay? They talk about how they're doing a great job. They give misinformation and are accused of sexual harassment.
Both of them
don't sue me. Allegedly.
And on top of that, Judge Vinny, both of them got to where they got in life almost entirely because of their fathers.
Their family.
The only reason why Cuomo was governor is because his daddy was governor. The only reason why Trump got real estate is because his daddy had real estate.
That's why I love when I hear Chris Cuomo and people on CNN tell me about white privilege. It's like, wait, what? What? Gloria Vanderbilt's son is on CNN? The governor's son, the former governor's son, the current governor's brother's on CNN. The only black guy on CNN is on at 11 o'clock at night, Don Lemon. But you're going to tell me about white privilege. But we're going to digress. We're going to get off the thing because
hey, you're forgetting about Van Jones.
Ben
my guy Van
upset.
Jones.
Yeah, what they give him? They gave him a podcast. Come on. So Ben is an
Shouts out Camu Bell.
Ben's going to get me going. So, but anyway, do we have any other comments or people to address? I think
Eileen said follow the money trail.
Always follow the money trail.
And Austin said Newsom, do what I say and not say what I do.
Yeah,
all of them.
Austin, man, Gavin Newsom is so full of shit. It's hilarious. Let's recall this punk. LeBron for governor.
It is really amazing to me that
flying Ted Cruz, all of them.
Flying Ted Cruz.
Flying Ted.
Come on, all of them. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But this is why. This is again. It goes back to my. It goes back to my point. This is why people are questioning something that doesn't need a PR campaign. This thing should not need a PR campaign. We have been the world. This isn't just the country. The world has been locked down for a year. And people are looking at this vaccine and being like, a third at least. So I'm like, I don't know. That shouldn't be the reaction to this. And I'm saying the reaction to this is because of people that are giving bad information or don't have the right information. And I think, you know what? If you don't have the right messaging, if you don't have the right packaging, this is what you're going to get.
Yep.
This is what you're going to get. And
Agreed.
again, don't use an Italian with a Brooklyn accent next time. I'm telling you, you need an English guy. You need an English accent.
Austin.
Okay, you need.
Austin's trying to get drunk.
Ben doesn't want. I know Ben doesn't want Mel Gibson for the obvious reasons, but
hey, Mrs. Sriracha said, Judge, what if Disney get the vaccine?
Let me tell you something. Your mom is the best. All right.
You want me to play that video of you, Vince?
No. All right, Mr. Mom Sriracha. Let me tell you something.
I'm sick. Make me some soup.
The poor kid's dying.
This might be the last episode with Michael. It's about to be 500,000.
I'll see you later.
I'm so glad that somebody brought it to Disney.
But you know, all right, that's actually a great question. Michael's mom asked a great question because it leads to something. I love to go to Disney. Everyone knows it. It's no secret. If Disney says you can't come to the park without getting the vaccine, that's something that gives me incentive to want to get the vaccine. And that's the point. If people have incentive to get the vaccine, you're allowed to go back to stadiums. You're allowed to go to games. You're allowed to fly. You're allowed to go back into comedy clubs. All you got to do is show your vaccine. That to me is the type of thing that will get people running to get online to do this. If you offer people normalcy in exchange for the vaccine, everyone's going to be on board. But when you don't offer normalcy and you tell people like Fauci did on Sunday, look, even with the vaccine, January 2022, we could still be wearing masks. People are like, screw this shit, man. I'll wait.
That's bullshit.
I'll wait.
That's such bullshit.
I'll wait.
Well, we get the vax. We
No,
got the vax.
It's not Fauci. It's Fauci. Look it up.
Shame. That's some fuck shame.
Listen, if you get the vaccine and I get the vaccine, we will be less likely to have to wear a mask around each other.
Well,
the problem is people who don't want to get the vaccine. That's
right. But here's the other thing about the vaccine that I understand as part of the study is that you are 10 times more likely to build the antibody as well. So there's other things with the vaccine. Listen, I'm not an anti-vax person. In fact, a lot of people may not know this. All of my childhood vaccines, I had to actually get them twice because the hospital that I got all my shots burned down when I was 3 years old. They lost all the records when I was in grammar school. They're like, hey, you got to get your shots again. And, with the exception of bald, I'm pretty okay. I think I'm okay. Everyone else in my family had hair except me. No, everyone was bald. I'm Italian.
Spitting image of health. You're basically Kelly Slater with the law degree.
Yes. And if any of you ever get a chance to see Ben's dad or Michael's dad, this is their future. So don't worry about it. They're cute and adorable now.
Vinny, this is their present.
Let me tell you something. You know what these two guys are? Right. Remember what the gremlins looked like before the water? That's Ben and Michael. They're the cute, fuzzy gremlins.
You're always cute when you're in your 20s.
The water's going to hit them in about 10 years, and they're going to look like this. I'm going to be a gizmo. All right.
Judge Vinny, we would love to look like you. We would just, you
guys
coat our scalp in olive oil every evening. Just rub some garlic into our.
Eileen wants to know what the vaccine does.
It gives you laser beam vision.
Okay. What the vaccine actually does, from what I understand, and I'm not a scientist, is it gives you the protection that you would get with the mask and the social distancing. Again, therein lies the problem.
Judge Vinny, I think we need a better explanation. Can I jump in there?
Because the whole point is that you've become protected. Like an N95 mask gives you 95% protection. It gives you that level of protection. But go ahead, please expand.
The key difference is a mask and social distance are physical measures. What a vaccine offers is a biological measure.
Scientific, absolutely.
Correct. At the cellular level, you are having antibodies. There are two primary mechanisms, mRNA and cellular protein creation. With mRNA, the vaccine is essentially giving your body the information to create a spike protein as if you already had the coronavirus. you know?
Right.
So it's all, you have the immunity of the antibodies without going through the full risk of incurring a higher viral load, because you're getting you're actually not getting any viral load at all. You're just getting the defense you would have that you would have gotten from getting sick.
Right. Correct.
Like Michael right now. Michael right now has COVID, and Michael is going to
Michael.
That explanation put me to sleep and then gave me COVID.
Michael's got COVID 20. That's how advanced Michael.
I got the COVID 2021s. You know,
Berkeley opened last night. They do not accept proof of vaccination. Everyone needed a COVID test within 24 hours of arriving. And Eileen said, okay, well, then why do you wear a mask and social distance?
Again,
post-vaccine, I mean,
it's inconsistent. She's right. They're both right. It's inconsistent because what's better then, the vaccine or the negative test? And it should be, well, both give you.
They don't have any
long-term
information. They don't have any long-term data on the vaccines yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how our public officials draw more lines and tell us what to do, because they actually have no idea. They literally don't have any idea what they're talking about, but they're going to tell us what we should and shouldn't do.
You're all going to be on Dr. Pimple Popper. You're all going to have that thing growing. Have you ever seen Dr. Pimple? Those people, they have like this growing out of their head. And it's like, nah, you know what? If I only had this for like 10 years, should I have it seen before? You're all going to be in her office with Facebook, YouTube. It's jokes. It's all jokes. It's not really a side effect. We're having fun. Comedian. Ha, ha, ha. All right. So listen, guys, another episode of Judge Vinny in the books. Anybody watching, please tell me if you watched live, if you watched on the replay. Just put an R for replay, L for live. Again, you have to subscribe, you have to like, you have to share. We have to grow this channel. Please click on the little bell thing on YouTube. Spread the word. We're trying to make this a bigger platform. And I have spoken to Jess about adding more episodes coming on. I hear all of you. You're telling me, listen, Vin, go back to doing some of the fun stuff that you did in the mornings during the whole pandemic. I'm going to start doing that again. I promise. I really enjoy doing these long forms once a week. We're going to do more short forms. Maybe I'll just have Ben on with me. Maybe just Michael. Maybe just Jess. Maybe I'll have other people on as well. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Again, like, subscribe, follow, spread the word. Thank you. Jess, take us out of here. Good job, gang.